is another legal luminary in Edo State, and of course the HOD Business Law, University of Benin, Dr. Job Odion. Nice to have you on set today.
Thank you very much. Good to be back once more.
Okay.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes, it's always a delight to have Dr. Odion with us. Now, let's take a look at the massive protests that took place across the country. It took place simultaneously, and it coincided with the funeral rites or the burial of 2 priests and 17 parishioners killed in Benue State. And there was massive protest in different states. In Edo State, it was massive in Benin City and other parts of the state. In Lagos, we understand that activities were grounded. In other parts, in Kaduna, you won't believe it, secondary school students joined the protest. Local residents in Kaduna State joined the protest. That's to tell you that it was massive, and the issue is, why the protest? According to the Catholic Archbishop Benin Diocese, it was enumerated. The protest is against killings. Killings not only of the 2 Catholic priests and parishioners in Benue State, but killings in other parts of the country, kidnapping as well, kidnapping of Nigerians, and of course of priests. Very, very unsavory situation in Nigeria, and that ignited that massive protest. We'll be taking a look at all of these. How can these problems be curbed to forestall the future protest? Let me put it that way. We'll start with the Secretary, Christian Association of Nigeria, Edo State Chapter, Sabesti Rabe, because it was CAN that commenced or kickstarted the protest. Then it was the other churches that started before this massive one by the by the faithful Catholics. Besti Rabe.
Thank you very much.
Yes. You want to refresh us. What necessitated these protests?
Thank you so very much. In the first instance, people believe that or feel that as Christians, our job is just to pray, and that we should not even talk about happenings in the society.
Okay.
And that they are dead wrong, because you know, there's nothing that is more repugnant to the biblical concept of Christianity than for complacency and you know, accepting minor adjustments from the status quo.
Yeah.
So Christian religion is a force for peace and even spiritual revolution. So silence in this case is not a way of speaking.
Okay.
And Cardinal Numa once said that the only thing that will make evil to continue to thrive is when good men refuse to say anything. So you see, what we have been witnessing in the political firmament of Nigeria in old and recent times has assumed a very worrisome dimension.
Okay.
And the church, right from the word go, even starting from Jesus, have always faced the status quo eyeball to eyeball to denounce some of the injustices that is inherent in society. Jesus did that, and he was angry at the time when he called the people whitewash sepulchre and stuff like that. Yeah. And right from 1960, the Catholic Church, for that matter, has engaged government continuously on the way to go, particularly in governance. So the church is the conscience of society and the voice of the voiceless. To that extent, it became very important, even more important for us to come out this time the way we have done, because we discovered that even though the church has engaged the leadership over time, meeting with them on a round table, talking to them, drawing the attention of government to the ills of society, the killings, the nefarious activities of the so-called herdsmen and Boko Haram. Yeah. The silence of leadership tend to attest to the fact that there is an unwholesome acquiescence by leadership, as if rubber stamping what is going on. That's what we have discovered, that the church has discovered that they are not acquiescing, they agree with what is going on. That's why no action has taken place. And so when we discovered that that became the case, we have to come all out to do a prayerful protest. Okay. That's to be well qualified. Yeah. A prayerful protest. That's exactly what we did. Yeah. And the statement has been so made.
Okay.
Yes, to denounce what is going on.
Okay, thank you, Besti Rabi. Okay, let's get the thought of Dr. Joe Bodio. Now, do you think is right what we saw? Is that not capable of bringing down the government of the day?
No, certainly not. There's right to dissent, right to protest, right to complain.
Yeah.
You can't beat a child and don't expect him to cry. You see, so what happened was a situation where people had to cry out about the ills that was going on, the killings.
Okay.
And like I want to key to what you have said, the killings were monumental, and of course it appeared to be targeted at certain religious faith, without mentioning names now. And so obviously those who were affected had to cry out. Don't forget that the killings during Boko Haram before was almost like a balance of the two religions, major religions we had. But this herdsmen phenomenon now seems to be focused on the Christians, you know, and then you got to this horrendous state where you have to attack a church and kill two Catholic priests. Not just the church members were killed, the Catholic priests were killed, and so it was quite disheartening. And so the church had to rise up, and you know the church is the opium, they say religion is the opium of society, and so we must not take away the fact that the church is an epitome of all shades of persons, all shades of interest group, as it were. You may say so. So when such things affect the church, it affects the society itself. And like Iradi said, the church must speak up.
Okay.
It must stand up, and for the Catholic faith, like you observe, over the years they've engaged government, and this one way they have to engage government constructively.
Okay.
And what I think is necessary is that it should not be seen just as focused on one religion. One would expect that our other, I would say the other religious faith, as it were, if they denounce what is happening, if they also denounce or claim that they do not approve of what is happening, that this would not represent their faith, one would expect a solidarity rally on their part too, because what happens is condemnable. So there should be some level of solidarity. I know in other climes that would have happened. So I can speak with one voice, because whoever is speaking in Nigeria, never mind the religion he or she professes. So we are hoping, we are expecting that that group, that religious faith, will also join the protest too, so that it will be in harmony, that we condemn what is happening and we want to collectively find a solution to it. Okay,
that's another dimension to it, that the protest, other faiths could have joined, and that would have probably made that protest more potent.
Of course.
Okay, now let's get the thoughts of Barrister Ebegwe Edugogo. Now, in your own opinion, do you think that protest will send the right signal to the appropriate authorities?
Of course, the protest was obviously very, very necessary, and in fact long overdue. Because the truth is that these continuous wanton killings, these very ugly incidents of killings all across the nation, particularly in Benue State, as that we are just getting close to half of the year, and they are recording close to 500,000 individuals that were slain without just reasons, without any due justification, violently slain. And then it's getting to a stage whereby something must obviously be done. A country cannot continue to strive like this. It's almost like we are tilting towards a state of anarchy, whereby life is essentially valueless, is essentially meaningless. What at the end of the day is the whole essence of government? We elected government to protect us, and one of the primary duties of government is the security of lives and properties. The killings, the spate of killings has continued very, very at an astronomical rate, and it has remained unabated despite all the cries, despite the violence associated with it, despite the fact that human life is supposed to be sacred. So many complaints here and there. People have talked, people have complained, people have done their best, but these killings have remained unmitigated. So at the end of the day, you use the only weapon you have. We cannot now take arms into our hands, because of course that one can never be justified under the law. But peaceful protest has remained a very viable means of the citizens advocating and making known their grievances, and by the activities of the Catholic Church, in fact, what they have done marks a watershed advancement in this cry out by Nigerians that the government should please put an end, abate these wanton killings. Something conscious, concerted efforts must be done. It's not now enough to just say, of course, we are grieved by what has happened. Something must be done to bring these perpetrators to book. They cannot continue to kill and kill and kill. And so the number, the astronomical number of individuals that turned out all over the country, thousands of Catholic faithfuls, shows that people are aggrieved, people are pained. It is the fundamental duty of the government that we voted in, that we believe in, to secure our lives and properties. And then if government fails, it is almost like telling them, defend yourselves. And any attempt for individuals to now fall into self-help will lead to a complete state of anarchy. So the government must rise up to the occasion and do something. Something can be done. One cannot say that these individuals, these Fulani herdsmen, they are beyond control. They are not beyond government. They are not close to being beyond the capacity of the Nigerian military force to tackle it. But government must do something consciously now to mitigate it. It is unfair, it is painful that Nigerians that have the right to life secured under Section 33 of the 1999 Constitution, they are being slain anyhow, and you see children, women. Then imagine people that have gone to the house of God. It's supposed to be a sacred place. When you have problems everywhere, you run to the house of God for refuge. Imagine you come and kill people early in the morning in the house of God. It means there is little or no hope. Where else should Nigerians run to? So at the end of the day, the whole essence of all these protests roundabout is saying exactly one thing. And if you ask majority, a plethora of Nigerians across the country, they all share the same view, similar view, that something must be done to stop these aimless and wanton killings of individuals, kidnappings, insecurity. Something must be done about the security situation in Nigeria, because it makes ridiculous. It's ridiculous to reason that people come out to work and at the end of the day they can just be killed for any reason. What then is the purpose of being in the state? What then is your benefit of being in the state? So the government should do more. Although they have said it over and over again that they are aggrieved, but now is the time we need concerted actions. Yeah. Serious actions. We cannot continue like this. We cannot continue heading in this direction whereby human life is now reduced to nothingness. People are being killed, mass burials are being done. In fact, do you know that after this mass burial, some individuals coming from the mass burial, they were still killed? That is the news. So we're still killed to show that these people, these perpetrators, they have no regard for the rule of law. They are not afraid of anything. So one will now ask, what gives them the guts, the effrontery to continue like this when the whole world is crying, stop this thing, but they continue, and we have not done anything to put them in check.
Thank you. Sir Best Iriabe, now, do you have any other plans in the offing? I'm talking about CAN. Is CAN maybe cooking some other ideas on how to continue to put pressure on government to secure lives and property in the country?
Yes, of course. You know, from the beginning, CAN issued out statements for all churches to pray in their individual churches, okay, but not to come out. That was the first step we took. And now we are going to go a step further. This time around, all Christians are going to come. In fact, the one the Catholic Church called, CAN actually issued a statement that all other Christian church groups should join. But they didn't quite key into the protest the way we have expected. But definitely, another one is in the offing, because we have to continue to talk. Even though the talk we are engaged in now is like talking to deaf people, but we are going to continue to drum in. We are going to continue to talk until they listen to our plight, because we cannot begin to talk about renewal of our hearts and mind without concern for social reform. We must be concerned. We are not neutral because we are Nigerians. And so we are not going to allow these things to continue to happen. Now, it is very clear to us, we were thinking before that, oh, there's a clandestine move by government. There's a subterranean move by government to Islamize Nigeria. It is very clear to all of us now. And even as the Christian leader,
to say, the government has
I want to say emphatically just now that it's no longer a subterranean move or clandestine move. The blind can see it, that there's a move. This is an attack on the affront, or it's an affront on the Christian religion. Okay, for instance, I'll give you an example.
Yeah, let me interject.
Yes.
Now, the federal government has debunked that. The vice president, who is a pastor, with the Redeemed Christian Church.
Yes.
Has debunked that.
Yes.
That there's any plan of that, what you have just said.
Yes.
Now, the federal government has also made Nigerians aware that security chiefs have been tasked to ensure safety, to ensure security of life. Don't you think that's enough to convince the Christians that there's no plan to make Nigeria an Islamic country?
The person you just mentioned, that is a pastor and a Christian parading himself in the corridors of power, has been conquered and triumphed over. So and triumphed over the government. So he lacked the capacity just now. He lacked the capacity just now to speak the truth. The problem is that the megaphone of government have been employed to deceive us. But of course, you know that the world is now a global village. So even if you say NTA should not air it, that's not to say that the world will not know. They are all here. Now the point we are making here is that if it is not a religious war, why is it that the only girl who subscribed to the Christian religion among the Dapchi girls is still in captivity, while the other ones who subscribe to the other religion were released?
The government does not have control over terrorists.
It is very clear. They have control over terrorists. When you are elected governor, local government chairman, or president, what do? You take a note. You say you are ready to take care and defend the territorial space of Nigeria and everything. You swore to it. So you cannot tell us. Now I ask the question: since this senseless and nefarious and wicked demonic killing started, how many of the so-called herdsmen, you know, the other day you say I shouldn't call them by name again, but you see, just now we should not resort to innuendos or euphemism. We must call the name by name. The Fulani herdsmen, I'm sorry, I must say so, because that's their trade. Now, how many of them have brought to justice? How many Fulani herdsmen have been known to have been arrested and tried and arraigned before the court of competent jurisdiction? No. All we know is that once a killing has taken place, the vice president or the president himself or his aides come to condemn it with all kinds of superlatives they can get from the English lexicon, and it ends there. So we are not going to keep we are going to be on the street continuously until they listen to us.
Okay, we'll get the thoughts.
Let me really react to that. I'm quite in sync with what you have said. I feel the pains because I'm also a Christian.
Okay.
But I also want to also paper it a bit to the extent that the government itself should be seen as representing all religious groups, all shades of interest and all that. But I know the failure of government, peaceful failure, is what is giving room for this kind of thoughts or innuendo, as he said. I don't subscribe to any plan to Islamize Nigeria. If there's any plan to do that can be done even documentarily without killing everybody. Okay. The so-called jihad that we are looking forward to is not by killing people. One president took us to OIC in the entire past. It just takes the executive for that to put us in the OIC, and that is the end. Turkey is an Islamic country. They didn't have to kill their citizens to become Islamic. In the early 19th century, Turkey was a Christian country. If I saw something on Facebook showing Turkey ladies dressed the way British ladies dress with their fine gown and ball gown, yes. But now Turkish ladies go about in hijab. So to Islamize the country is not about killing everybody. If you kill everybody, who will be the goats or the so it can be done by the legislation or by executive fiat. So that should be taken off the corner or the borders completely. Yeah. But be that as it may, government has failed. Government is sentimental because there's this subtle protection of those who are causing this mayhem, and that because they have leaders in government or they have leaders in the echelon of their own Muslim faith, and who have a way of having the president or the government's ear. So because of that, you hear a group like Miyetti Allah making all the noise, nobody has been arrested or prosecuted. You hear them threatening the government of the day in Benue State, challenging laws that have been enacted, challenging the executive powers of the governor, and nobody has been arrested or tried. When you go head-on with government in that manner, it's treasonable. You can be tried for such. When the law is made and telling you that law was not the that of the day, you didn't go to court to challenge the law, but you vow to disobey the law, and in that context, people are being killed every day. So the government wanted to do justice. They wanted to avoid the kind of insinuation that we are having now. By now, should arrest or at least call the leader of this group to order. The DSS should have invited them, questioned them, and monitor their movement.
But for what
they've not done that, so that is why people are not. I'm talking about what they have done.
Yeah.
They keep saying, but
we see the military arresting people and it's okay, militias. You've arrested militias. Now this so-called headsmen, the killer headsmen, that's the new name. The killer headsmen. It's guerrilla war. You don't really. They don't come out openly like that.
No, we know.
So once the military sees them, surely the military will arrest them. Don't you think so?
Yeah, but the point is making, just our vice council key to our discussion.
Okay.
The point is making that you must set an example. You know, the law itself is not just on us. The law must set an example. When this government, when they came in '84, we knew what they did, and of course, as military government, those 3 drug dealers were killed. You know, quite unfortunately though, through excessive punishment and through a retroactive law that many of us didn't like and which gave him a bad name until he tried punishing himself till he got back. Now, it was an example. I'm sure from '84 till the other man came, I'm not to mention his name, people were scared of drug pushing. When the other man came and they said some people were involved, for some people said that was the reason why he was overthrown, so that the other man can continue the business as well. But it was a very dastardly act, but he sent the right signal. The day killer headsmen are arraigned before a court of competent jurisdiction, they are convicted, sentenced, and probably hung, because capital punishment is what you give for murder. What they do is murder and arson. This other is arson, which is life imprisonment. If this killing, the day you arrange just 2 or 3 persons and they are executed through the hangman rules, let them appeal to Supreme Court if they want to. But it may take 3-6 years, but let somebody see that one killer headsman or one killer whatever has been hung.
Okay.
Even just arrange them before court. In all the states, Benue, Plateau, Taraba, where they are causing mayhem, every day you give it the spotlight in the news, you are in the media, you see it in the media that these persons are going to court. Exactly. The chains, their bail has been denied. No bail. They are sent to various police custody that are there. They come to court. When their brothers see them, they will be reasonable enough not to engage. That the diehards know that. They'll be diehard. But of course, the volume, the propensity to be engaged will be reduced. When they do these things and they go scot-free, or say you arrest military, and like some people saying, military arresting and those military who want to defend themselves, you go to business, the thief military who are very frontal, they are very strong. They're not weaklings. The thief people are not weaklings. No. They have their own military, but the story that they were disarmed, they were driven away from their states. There was one popular one who the governor, one reason why I also blame the governor, I said it in the informal setting. I also blame the governor Otom for all this, because when he came on board, there was one strong military there, I don't know his name now. He started fighting the young man. He started fighting the young man, and because of political differences, fought the young man and got the man and declared him wanted. The man now went on the run. Because of that, they had a field day. If that man was there, you can't try. I can tell people, these so-called S-men, let them come and try it in Nigeria now. I didn't know the grazing lands in Bayelsa. Let them go there now. Yes. And try to say, they'll be finished overnight. Why? Not encouraging self-help or by my learned colleague has said. But the point is that, the point is that as long as they have this feeling that they can do it and get away, then you have impunity. What you have now is impunity. That is why I think people are saying...
Okay, we'll go straight to Bester area.
Yes.
Now, part of the protest, the faithful Catholics actually kicked against open grazing, which is an issue that we have been talking about.
Yes.
Now, you think ban on open grazing will actually stop killings of Christians?
Of course it is, because just now, the narrative of the so-called herdsmen fits squarely into the narrative of Boko Haram. So these are Boko Haram in a way. And so if you stop open grazing, definitely it's going to stop. It's going to stop it, because Nigeria cannot afford to be backward. In other climes, we are not talking about cattle ranching. People, we can go on doing cattle ranching, that just moving out and grazing openly, and they invade people's farms, destroy farm produce and all that. People are not able to go to the farm anymore. Women, the endangered species, they cannot go to the farm and stuff like that. So just now, we must stop open grazing, and we don't also want colonies. Fulani cattle colony is not needed. We should go to cattle ranching, because the truth of the matter, Ewosa, is this: Nigeria is in a state of anomy. We have gone back to the Orwellian period. George Orwell wrote a book, 1984, and where the truth, is no longer a revolution. So that's the point we are in now, where the love of animal is preferred to the love of human beings. Then what kind of society is this? Where are we going from here? This is the question. So the government, we cannot fold our hands akimbo and say, well, I'll shoulder, and say, well, all right, we are praying to God. God will do that. No. That is the reason why we must continue to mark this protest. We must go to plan it, stay on the street as long as it may take. If they want to kill all of us, yeah, we are available, let them come. Because, you see, the church pulled down the government of El Salvador. Even though at a very high cost, when Oscar Romero, who's that canonized saint in the Holy Catholic Church, was canonized. While he was celebrating Mass, he was killed. But the government was pulled down. That obnoxious government was pulled down of El Salvador. The church made it possible. So any demonic government, or any government that has made themselves demonic, they mark the Pope, will pray them out. You see, I must say something here to our viewers. That we Christians, we are not going to resort to the use of arms. Because it is very clear from the scriptures. Second letter to the church to the church at Corinth, and by extension to all Christians in Nigeria. When he said, 2 Corinthians chapter 10 from verse 3, he said, for although we are human beings, the weapon with which we do battle, they are not carnal or tangible, but they are mighty through God to the pulling down of every stronghold. We will continue to use that weapon. We are not going to buy guns and all that. We have that strong weapon. But for God's sake, we have the right to defend ourselves. At the point we have gotten to, if somebody is coming to attack me, if I can run away to safety, fine. But if I have a way to dislodge him so that he can fall upon his sword, why not?
Yeah. Okay, we get the thoughts of Barrister Edogo. Now we gradually get into way forward. How do we stop this problem in Nigeria?
Well, I want to first of all say that when we are looking at, for now, the actions of government, we want to say that although we have heard a lot in terms of words, but the truth is that actions speaks far louder than words, and a picture paints 1,000 words. You can see people, they are continually killed. And in my view, the issue before us is far more than this issue of grazing. There's a consented plan. It's more or less like ethnic cleansing. Otherwise, they are talking about grazing. What has grazing got to do with going to kill people early morning inside the church? Is it the church that they are now fighting for grazing land? So this is a calculated, well-fortified and planned effort for ethnic cleansing, because at the end of the day, most of these killings, they are targeted towards the Christians. And then we hear a lot of lofty words, a lot of condemnations from government, but we are seeing very minimal actions. We have not seen enough arrests. Even the kind of arrests that we are seeing is actually those indigents trying to defend themselves that are being arrested. Meanwhile, the perpetrators of this mayhem, they are left off the hook somehow, as if they are spirits, but they are not spirits, they are human beings. If the political will is there, if the political will is there to clamp them down, the way they were able to clamp down all the militants in the Niger Delta and all of that, they would have been able to clamp them down. If the way the energy, the resources they put in pursuing in Nnamdi Kanu almost out of existence, if they use it to face this Fulani herdsmen, they will be nowhere to be found. Exactly. But we are seeing little action. Exactly. And the painful thing is that human lives have been wasted. And I want to say, whether we like it or not, it remains sacred that human life, all human beings are actually supposed to be equal. In accordance with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But in Nigeria now, it's like some lives are far more equal than others. Those with the financial capacity, those with the political capacities, they will have enough securities, securing their own lives, while others are being killed every day, even far more than the way they kill chickens. And we want to say that Nigeria cannot continue like this, because at the end of the day, all human beings are actually supposed to be equal. It's not enough for government to continue to condemn, or government to even cry openly over the killings. We want actions. And the truth is that Nigeria, we have the human capacity, we have the military capacity to actually face out this guerrilla group, this Fulani killer herdsmen. But the will is not there, and that is where government will now put its feet on the ground to say that I am not in support of this. And then apart from this, all hands must be on deck. All segments of society, the military, the political groups, the Christians, the Muslims, everybody that is actually condemning this. There must be synergy between all these groups in putting concerted action to say we must phase out this situation that is now making Nigeria almost a very, very insecure and unsafe place to live in. A place that foreigners can no longer come in. A place that human lives has no meaning or value anymore. And then when you want to say the way forward, the military. Nigeria, we have one of the best military anywhere in the world. When they go for war, they go for peacekeeping. Yes. They are outstanding. Okay. So why is it that when it comes to Nigeria, we cannot even protect ourselves against internal aggressors? That political will is not there. And that is why I'm saying this thing is far beyond this issue of cattle. And at the end of the day, everybody in Nigeria will water this issue. Whether you like it or not, Benue State remains the food basket of Nigerian nation. And then they are destroying everything there. Those people, they have strong will. Otherwise, with all the amount of persecution they have received in Benue State, one will feel all of them should run away from that state and leave the state for the cattle. If it's cattle, we are going to eat in Nigeria and sustain our lives. But the truth is that when we continue to attack them, at the end of the day, the economy of this country will suffer, because majority of the food eaten in Nigeria is produced from that state. The government of the day, if he gives the right direction, if he gives the positive direction and say, go, arrest all these people, you will see that when they know that they no longer have protection, they are no longer above the law, as it were, they are no longer invisible, they will be forced to counter. Because every human being loves his life. He may not value the life of the other person, but his own life is very sacred to them. That's why when you catch a criminal, at the end he is looking very sorry and repentant when you see them, or crime God. So it's in the same vein. It's in the same vein. Okay. The government should clamp down heavily on them. The way he chased out Nnamdi Kanu that did not kill anybody. He was chased almost out of extinction. Okay. They should use that same energy to chase out people like this.
Thank you, madam. Well, we must make it very clear here that the federal, from what Barrister Adugo has said, the federal government actually has given directive to service chiefs, to those in charge of internal security, to ensure that these killer headsmen are fished out and prosecuted. The federal government has always done that, and the president has not hidden his desire to ensure the safety of lives and property. And we must also commend the Nigerian military for the great job that they've done almost in different states. There are so many problems, and the Nigerian military responds. So they respond to the problems in the northeast, respond to the problems in the middle belt, respond to the problems in the Niger Delta area. I think Nigerian military has done well, and they are being encouraged to do more in the interest of the country. So that is that on the issue of the nationwide protest. We have just taken a retrospective look at the nationwide protest, and my discussants have also provided solution that some persons need to be arrested and used as example. They should be taken to the law court, they should be prosecuted, they should be jailed, and that will send a very strong signal to others at large. And I think that's the consensus here. And the need to ensure that farming is protected, not only livestock farming, but also crop farming. That has also been emphasized by Sir Best Iriabi, who has also said that all Nigerians must be protected. Okay, now we have another issue to look at on the program, and it is the fallout of the parallel congresses. I'm very glad we have legal luminaries with us who will be expatiating on the implication. The ruling party conducted state primary. That was the latest of all the congresses that they've had, the state congress. And in some states, parallel congresses were held. But before we discuss this, let's listen to the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, who said he's aware of parallel congresses and such congresses are not recognized. Let's listen to him.
Proud that in Kwara State today we have had a very successful Congress. There is no report of crisis and there is no rancor. I have only one message. You may have heard that some people are gathered somewhere saying that they are organizing another Congress. I want to reaffirm that the only Congress that is recognized by our party is the Congress organized by the committee that the party has sent. Any other Congress is an exercise in futility.
Okay, that's Bolaji there, very emphatic. We'll start with Dr. Joe Bodion. Now, parallel congresses, what does that mean? And what's its implication on the political landscape in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Now, that portends a great danger,
okay,
negative signal for the political landscape, because democracy itself, as a broad concept, must start with party democracy, okay, what we call the internal democracy. If you don't get it right at that micro level, you can't do well at the macro level. You see it. And so the congresses are supposed to be a litmus test for the party to showcase your capability, okay, to organize a free and fair election, starting from maybe Ekiti State and of course it's 2019. Okay. Yeah. It's also a forum to show that as politicians you are large-hearted, you can accept defeat when you are defeated, you can embrace your opponents, you can work together just the way even after the elections they must come together to project the. That is why the Electoral Act itself and of course the INEC as the ombudsman, the umpire, they are charged with this responsibility of supervising these congresses, okay, to ensure there's what we call internal democracy. And the party's constitution must be streamlined to ensure that at every given time you have a properly constituted executive from the ward level to the national level. And that these persons are either elected or you go do it by consensus, whichever one the party decides to adopt. Now when you decide to adopt the full suffrage system, the voting system, yeah, and you must elect your party executive from the ward to the national level, it should be done transparently and of course with the best standard. But I think that has not happened with the APC. And that's why you have these parallel congresses all over. But be that as it may, the implosion that people are expecting will happen may not happen the way it is, because this is not something new. Right from the PDP era to today, the party in government, because of the government power and the purposes of government they have, there's always an avalanche of people, an avalanche of interest group that will converge in that party. PDP had it over the years for the system, because APC is a big party now, they're in government, they're in federal government and all that, so all manner of parties will go there with different interests. Those who are there for their pocket, those who are there for their stomach, those who are there just to create confusion, those who are there because they are, so the few ones who are focused, the few ones who believe in party politics, who believe in internal democracy, who want to serve, they are in the minority, that's the truth. In the minority. And when that happens, there's going to be bound to be schism. Yeah. Let me also narrow down to specifics. We're having this problem in this country, that at every given level, the state governors or the state machinery of the party is always at loggerhead with those at the federal level. The senators are always fighting with the governors. We don't know why, but that has been the pattern. So you find that you have a state with 3 senators, yes, and a governor. They rarely will agree. So coming together to project the states where the state can benefit, they are at loggerhead, because the senator, for all that they care, is a potential governor or a failed governorship candidate. He has wanted to be a governor, he didn't succeed, or he has not. So with that, the governor here sees them as a threat or not a brother, and there's always that competition, yeah, which at times becomes very unhealthy. So most of these states you see is a battle between those in Abuja and those. Yeah,
that's what we really observed. In Rivers State, yes. Yeah, the problem was there. Former governor, a serving senator, Kogi State. Yes.
So that happens.
Kogi State.
Yes.
Okay, now, Pastor Dowo, looking at the legal framework, parallel congresses, does it stand?
Legally, parallel congresses definitely will not stand.
Okay.
Because when you look at even the internal constitution of the party, it recognizes only one congress, the one as explicated and provided for by their constitution. All those other ones, of course, they are aggrieved parties. But the truth is that going by the party constitution, those other parallel congresses, their decisions will not hold and they are not recognized. And the truth is that when you look at the issue of parallel congresses, it's a good pointer. It's at par with the stage. It shows the stage of Nigerians, a very rudimentary and elementary level of political democracy. That we are at a very basic stage of democracy. That's why even in the general society, you are seeing the kind of happenings that is now happening now, whereby at the ruling parties level, they cannot have a consensus and agree. Parties come down and follow leadership. Of course, there must be grievances when maybe if for different reasons where they feel there is not a fair play. Some people feel they have been sidelined, they have been marginalized. We have this kind of grievances, and at the end of the day, it's also going to water down on the strength of APC's democratic government. It's going to water down on their strength to even stand in 2019 election. But looking at it legally, the issue of parallel congresses is not recognized by the internal constitution of the party. All those other aggrieved parties, they actually have a proper channel of actually making known their grievances and reporting it to the appropriate authorities, not by rebelling and having a parallel congresses that are not recognized. It's only a way of further weakening the party's strength, the party's synergy, the party's democracy. And at the end of the day, it's a very clear representation of what actually obtains in Nigeria's democracy. That is why when people vote, you are not even sure that your votes will count. When you speak, you are not sure that your voice will be heard.
Okay. Now, let's get the thoughts of Sir Best Iriabe. Now, democracy is what we are practicing.
Yes.
And when we are beginning to have parallel congresses for the ruling party, are you scared of the ability of the ruling party to conduct free and fair elections?
Of course, what is happening now, it's not new. Okay. Like my brother earlier said.
Yes.
When election is drawing near like this, particularly in a country like Nigeria, they have deliberately refused to mature. Yes. What you are going to find is a dance, a macabre dance by political gladiators. Okay. They are dancing their usual dance. Now, what are you? Let's go to the basics.
Okay.
Why do you think people come into governance in Nigeria? Are they actually coming to take power for the good of the people, to work for the common good? Of course, the answer is no. Many of them are struggling to grab power for personal aggrandizement and for pecuniary reason. And when the sharing is not well done, of course, the people will definitely go to different divide. That's exactly what's going on now. Now, those who are organizing the parallel congresses, they know that at the end of the day, they are not going to hold whatever they are doing. They will not hold water. But they are thinking that as they continue to do that, they will call them for settlement at the end of the day.
For reconciliation.
So reconciliation. That's exactly what's going on. You see, so it's the harmonization and what have you. That's exactly what is going on. So you see, it's a pity that whereas Nigeria has the potential of becoming at least a very strong power in our own bloc in the African continent, but the people who are the dramatic personality today in the corridors of power refuse to mature, and therefore they have reduced the Nigerian polity to a geriatric snail. I don't know if you have heard of a geriatric snail. The geriatric snail makes movement, but the movement knows no seriousness. Or at best, Nigeria can be compared to an octopus that is being dragged from different corners. So we don't make meaningful progress. That's exactly what we find, where we find ourselves.
Except in football.
Except in football and maybe in music and whatever. So that's exactly what it is.
Okay. So football has been advanced.
At least the hope is not lost. Yeah. We have the entertainment industry and football.
Okay, but democracy is what Nigeria is practicing.
Yes.
What's the way forward? 2019 is fast approaching, and all Nigerians are already looking forward. They are expectant. Now, do you see a credible 2019 ahead? A credible election ahead?
Yeah, we can, and like I said, you start with the ruling party.
Okay.
So they have all what it takes to determine whether we have a free and fair election in 2019, because they are beneficiaries of a free and fair election. Okay. Whatever flack we have given to the past president, Goodluck, but at least he ensured free and fair election. Yeah, he ensured there was a free playing field, as it were. It was not skewed.
Do you think Dr. Goodluck will still be happy that he ensured free and fair election?
I think he should be happy because as a man, whatever I do, posterity will judge you by it.
Exactly.
Do things that are good, not for yourself, for the country, before God and Almighty God. So it's not about your interest, about your your desperation that matters now. That is why some of us don't remember the other man, the OBJ they call him. We don't reckon him in the stand of history. Good luck. Where good luck stands, they can't stand there. But he was the one who brought the issue of do and die politics. So at 3, I was still in Nepoma when I heard about do and die, and that's how I do and die. There was so much violence in this period.
Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, 2015 election, watershed.
Brought it to down. So the current president is a beneficiary, like I said. Okay. He has a duty to ensure that there's fair election. And that must start by him putting his feet down in their primaries. When they go for that sort of harmonization, it should be done properly. It should reduce the influx of court cases, because the other aspect we didn't mention as bad is that some of us will get busy very soon. The SAN will get busy with pre-election matters.
Exactly.
To court and that. But before the court session starts, they should sit down in-house, harmonize these congresses, reconcile those that can be reconciled, go with a united front, then the picture that you are a party that can organize the election, and then ensure that when you now go for a major election next year, give INEC the free hand to operate, give the security agencies the free hand to operate, don't have to intimidate or influence them, let your service generals, your DSS be neutral to the best of ability. They are Nigerians, they have right to politics, the speaker has said so. As the director of DSS, you can belong to a party, but don't do it openly, don't use the office you occupy to support your party. Don't use your, as an IG, you can be political, you can like APC or PDP, but don't use your men, your personnel to do that. That is what the president should do. Let those institutions of government that will involve in an election be neutral, should be transparent. If you are popular, if your policies are okay, Nigerians will vote for you. If you are tired and want you to go, Nigerians will ask you to go and rest, and somebody else will come on board. So it's a task he must do. At the age of 70-something now, thereabouts, he has no other choice but to ensure that he replicates what Jonathan did.
Okay. Barrister Dogo, are you looking forward to a free, fair, and credible 2019 election based on what we are seeing, the parallel congresses, people uneasy camp?
Well, in my view, based on the precedent already before us, from all the happenings around and even the internal one happening in APC within the party, Nigerians should pray very hard. Let God have mercy and help us in the 2019 elections. Because the truth is that until we conclude the elections, nobody can say per se that these elections will be free and fair. Yes, Nigerians will have the capacity to conduct free and fair elections. But the truth is that the politics in Nigeria, like I said before, is still in a very, very rudimentary stage. We are practicing draconian politics. Politics of do or die. Politics whereby the votes of the people is entirely meaningless and entirely their business. But as we have noted earlier, the Goodluck Jonathan's administration marked a beautiful watershed in the development of electoral fairness, whereby there was a free and fair elections. And we are hoping in the same spirit that what benefited this one should also benefit the other one. In the interest of Nigeria moving forward, with all the tensions in Nigeria, the present administration should put all his hands on deck to see that 2019 election is not truncated for any reason. The wishes and aspirations of the people actually come to pass. But as it is, the way Nigeria stands now, there is no hard and fast rule now. There is no corporate rule now to say that one can say, based on the machinery on ground, we are certain we are going to have free and fair election. We are only going to be praying and hoping that the present administration does the needful, does what is right, as our president has actually brought out himself and have continuously made it known to the world that he stands for integrity and is a man of integrity. 2019 election is a good ground for him to show it to the whole world that yes, I'm not going to interfere with the present election, because from the precedents of elections done in Nigeria, the ones done in Edo State, different places here and there, one cannot say categorically now that we are 100% sure, or even the Dino Milayes recall, so many people now came out and they were wondering how their signatures managed to appear when they did not sign. So these are very bad pointers that Nigeria's democracy is at its very, very rudimentary stage, and it needs a lot of development. So based on what is on ground, we cannot be sure 100% that we have
Thank you, Barrister Edogo. Your parting words, Sir Bessie.
Yeah, even though we cannot be sure 100% that all will be well, but we are hopeful. Since we have a God who has been our help in ages past, We hope that
why is it that in the case of Nigeria, it's always prayers? If Nigeria is playing football, we say all Nigerians should pray for the team. It's always prayers.
We want to thank God for that. God will going to see us through. We have Him who has been our help in ages past, and it's our hope for years to come. So President Buhari can write his name in the letter of good if he allows the 2019 election to be free and fair.
Thank you very much. On that note, I say thank you for being a part of today's discussion. I want to thank my guests, Barrister Idowu. Thank you very much. Sir Best Iriabe, the Secretary Khan Edo State, thank you. And of course, Dr. Joe Bodio, thank you for your contributions on the show. And our viewers out there, those watching in the UK, in the US, in Europe, Asia, and around the world, I hope you've enjoyed today's program. Keep a date with us. Next week, Thursday, we'll be looking at another issue, that jet towards national development. My name is Ego Sagbola. Bye-bye.